Worst cases. Terror and catastrophe in the popular imagination. By Clarke. Published by the University of Chicago Press. Preface. People are worried now about terror and catastrophe in ways that a short time ago would have seemed merely fantastic. Not to say that horror and fear suffuse the culture, but they are in the ascendant. And for good reason. There are possibilities for accident and attack, disease and disaster that would make September 11th seem like a mosquito bite. I think we have all become more alert to some of those possibilities, and it is wise to face them down. The idea of worst cases isn't foreign to us. We have not, however, been given enough useful insight or guidance, either from academics or political leaders, regarding how to do that. In this book, I look the worst full in the face. What I see is frightening, but enlightening. I believe that knowing a thing permits more comfort with that thing. Sometimes the comfort comes from greater control. Sometimes it comes from knowing the enemy, or the scary thing which proffers a way forward toward greater safety. There is horror in disaster. But there is much more, for we can use calamity to glean wisdom, to find hope. Tragedy is with us now as never before. But that does not mean we need be consumed with fear and loathing. We can learn a lot about how society works and fails to work by looking at the worst. We can learn about the imagination, about politics, and about the wielding of power. We can learn about people's capacities for despair and callousness, and for optimism and altruism. As we learn, our possibilities for improvement increase. Worst Cases is about the human condition in the modern world. Some say that September 11th changed everything. That's not true. But it did imprint upon our imagination scenes of horror that until then had been the province of novels and movies. We now imagine ourselves in those images, and our wide-awake nightmares are worse than they used to be. We must name, analyze, and talk about the beast. That's our best hope as a society, to come to terms with the evil, the human failings, the aspects of nature, and just plain chance that put us in harm's way. Of course, talking about the worst can be a way to scare people into accepting programs that have other ends, and that they might not otherwise accept. The image of a nuclear mushroom cloud, for example, can be used to justify war, because the possibility is so frightening that we would do almost anything to prevent it. The dark side of worst-case thinking is apparent even at the level of personal relationships. Unleavened by evidence or careful thought.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?